Live from.
Now there's a delay on that.
The times I've been there on Zoom, it's like repeat offenders have been there for like 6 or 7 times. You know, this is your last chance.
Ask him about it. They immediately assume that you didn't issue a warning. It's like, oh, every single one. And then you delay it for another 6 months. And he doesn't show up.
Final chance. But you're like 8 times. It's like, there's no consent for them.
I told him, like, before he even gets here, they've been warned numerous times. We'll be happy to go down there. Because like, just get it scheduled, it's not done with it. Because the residents, everyone else is playing it, then we blame us. We're not doing anything about it.
Well, I think that, I guess with the transfer case, either
7:25.
it doesn't fall under either municipality, so it's kind of like in a gray area.
That's what.
So there's no incentive for either one.
That is, you let us sit up in the long run, it goes along.
We'll just disappear. Who's gonna push it?
What did you get aggravated assault? Support assault?
Harassment.
Harassment.
Assault, harassment. Criminal trespass.
Okay, so you had 3.
I think it's not on small retainers. No, the company, no.
That's not true.
No, of course, the company. I'm just saying. Comparatively speaking.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's correct.
One of mine.
Yes. Well, I think that's the question. That was the question. We said my position here. Yes. And we're. Push back on.
It was a wonderful day. I didn't know how I wanted to shoot you.
I'll change that. Thanks.
Your dates will change, just whatever you said, the day itself.
Well, it says September too, and it's not.
It was October. What's that? I saw it someplace else too.
All right, I'll
I
look,
saw it twice. See, as
I'll look through that.
long as you know.
Do you have a pen over there?
All right, we're ready. Just regular meeting, Metro Borough Council. Mr. Turner, please do the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. This meeting is being held in compliance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act and advertised in retrospect to the open board downstairs for all official borough social media channels. I ask for those of you here with us this evening, that you please put your phones on silent. If you need to speak with anybody or conduct business, please do so outside. Roll call, please.
Mr. Fitzgerald, Mr. McLuhan.
Here.
Ms. Morales, Mr. Sprazza.
Here.
Mr. Woods.
Here.
We have quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. The first item on the agenda this evening is the public portion of the meeting. Anyone from the public wishing to come forward and speak on any topic, please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Hello, good evening. My name is Alex Diamond. I'm at 105 Westminster Avenue in Mercantville. Hello, Mr. Mayor, council
Good
people.
evening.
I'm here on behalf of the Mercantville Shade Tree Commission and the Green Team to give you an update on the Tiny Forest Project and how we're going to use the grant that we received. We received a grant of $2,500 from the New Jersey Shade Tree Federation. And I did want to read what they said in giving us the grant, because it's really very nice. That Shade Tree Federation noted that Mercantville's Tiny Forest Project was, quote, an exceptionally creative example of transforming public space into valuable green space. And Lynn Geddes, who was at the conference where the grant was presented, said that people from other municipalities were coming up and were asking her about this project. So it's created quite a lot of buzz among other shade tree commissions and all this project. It's something that they're really looking to do. To give you a little recap, a tiny forest is not a forest of tiny little trees. It's a full-size trees in a very small space. So what you do is you plant densely in this space, 3 to 5 trees per square meter, which is very dense. You plant native plants, and you plant trees such that you create the layers like in a natural forest. So there's canopy trees, there's mid-sized trees, there's the understory trees, and then on the margins, there's shrubbery. You plant seedlings, not saplings. So the difference would be for a street tree, you plant saplings. Those trees are about 1.5 inches in diameter. They're about 6 or 7 feet tall. But for the tiny forest, you plant seedlings. So they're look like twigs. They're about under 2 feet tall, typically 12 to 18 inches tall. The site was selected previously. The site we're going to use is on the west side of the bike path between Clinton and Euclid Avenues. What's currently there is a flat open space. It has a ground cover of grass and non-native weeds. It's just mowed very short right now. There are no trees or shrubs there that we'd be removing. So it is just this grassy place. We will be using the grant this year, the full $2,500. So what we're going to do is first to prep the soil. The area we're planting in is 20 feet by 20 feet, which is 400 square feet. The site does have room for a larger but for the amount of money we have, and also since this is our first planting, we thought it would be better to keep it a little smaller. So 20 feet by 20 feet, 400 square. We will have a contractor remove several inches of soil, replace that soil with a good forest loam, something suitable to the trees, and then we'll plant 8 to 20 trees, and the contractor will do that. Now, 8 to 20 trees is not going to fill the space, but it will be a start there. So our plan then is to have a second phase of planting in the spring. Oh, just let me say that those trees that we're planting are sourced from a nursery, Pinelands Nursery, which specializes in trees native to New Jersey. So for the second planting, to fill in that 3 to 5 trees per square meter, we intend to source the trees directly from the New Jersey Shade Confederation. You may know that they give out seedlings to municipalities every year. So we can get quite a few seedlings from them. They'd be about this big, they're fairly generally. And our idea for that planting in the spring of 2025 is to make that a community event. So we would invite people and groups that are interested in the project to come and plant with us. That way we have a fun community event. We also have the opportunity to show them what we're doing on their behalf and to educate them about the benefits of having this tiny forest there. Once that's done in the fall, we have to go back to the conference, the Shade Tree Conference, to report on what we've done, provide them with pictures and let them know the progress we've made. Now, the seedlings will be established plants in 2 to 3 years, and in about 10 years, it'll start to look like a forest. It'll be tall enough. You know, there's an old saying, you probably heard it before, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, and the second best time is now. So we will be planting now. That is the end of my update, and I really thank you all for your support of this project. It's been a bit of time coming, but it's really an exciting project.
One comment. I just want to make sure that we mark off where the saplings are installed, because I would need to see Public Works.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, sure, that's part of the whole thing of planting. You always do the 411 first. We do that on street trees, we do that with everything. We have
No,
marked out.
Things even beyond that just so that for the springtime comes and if they're still lower, we don't want the public works accidentally running lower. So I just want to make sure that we I'll talk with the director about it, and also, do you guys have like a drawn out like overhead of the map of where?
It's marked out, yeah, we do have an overhead map of it.
Okay, yeah, if you could provide something that way I can get into DPW and make sure that.
It's that little green square in the middle.
Green square, gotcha, okay.
And we don't have any other.
Yeah, she mentioned.
Yeah, they always check for that before they dig. And, yeah, so it needs to be,
Well, I mean.
make sure they don't mow it.
Yeah, I want to make sure, well, my first thing is don't, I want to make sure those get voted. My second thing is, I know that the garden club at one point worked really hard on a project over by the community center, and then it was moved down. So, and it was not intentional, it didn't.
We can also look into, getting some kind of fencing around it for the 2 to 3 years. It wouldn't be a permanent fencing.
Right, yeah, just something to kind of mark it off.
Sturdier than just some plastic fencing, but not anything permanent.
Right.
Because ultimately the forest sustains itself.
Right, yeah.
Okay, we need to make an Eagle Scout project.
I was thinking you might go to talk to.
Yeah, definitely Sean Walter, definitely, yeah. They're always looking for projects like that, so.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, anyone else from the public? Come forward, speak on any topic. We're now close the public portion of the meeting. Hearing on ordinance 2410, adding Article 4, commercial zoning, chapter 25 fees. Anyone wishing to come forward and speak on that ordinance, please come forward, state your name and address for the record. Great, hearing none. We'll close public hearing on ordinance 2410 and move with adoption of ordinance 2410, adding Article 4, commercial zoning, chapter 25 fees. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Woods first, Mr. Furman second. Any discussion on the motion?
Yeah, This is some of the, I think this is the original one.
Yes, and I was going to suggest, and I'm sorry for not speaking sooner, this may want to be deferred. Mr. Speranza and I were going to discuss some of the changes that have been done to the model ordinance that came from the state, and maybe incorporating it into this ordinance.
My only concern is this doesn't address, the way it's so specific, the way it's written, it's outdated. So it doesn't include streaming, Netflix, online, anything like that, all systems film. I'm not sure if it would be broad enough for that, but I mean, the first paragraph really says motion picture film, and we know nothing's used that way. That's all.
But we discussed this the last meeting, how did that, make that revision?
Because yeah, the first definition of filming is not gonna cover
But what we could do is we can go forward with this now, at least, and when something comes up on the fee, there's going to be another thing on the fee ordinance that can be included in that. That provision.
I think that the ordinance coming up in the next month with a lot of changes.
So that can be,
If it speaks that, I do have that.
that can be added without any cost.
Okay, Mr. Woods, it's your motion on the table here.
So I will motion to approve tonight, with conditions that we'll come back to this. I think some of the alterations requested by Councilman Speraza, we will take up the table events.
So move forward as is, revise it as necessary. Okay. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Mr. McGlynn.
Yes.
Mr. Perna.
Yes.
Mr. Speranza.
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much. Next we have, the approval of the minutes. We have, first, meeting minutes from Monday, October 14th. Those present, Mr. Wood, Mr. Fitzgerald, we can vote on those. So I have a motion to approve the council meeting minutes from October 14th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Right. And then second, we have the caucus meeting from the 28th, which other than the change for the date, month being September to October in the actual minutes at the top. That's a minor typographical error. Those that can vote, Mr. Fitzgerald, Mr. McGlynn, Mr. Woods. Motion.
So.
Second. Motion, Mr. Fitzgerald, Mr. Speranza with the second. Mr. Speranza. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Okay, Mr. Lees, good evening. Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. So all much slated on fiscal year 23 road program will be completed. It's Woodline work, so we're shooting the final paperwork for reimbursement. All the roofing work and the replanting work has been completed. Construction permit, I believe, has been closed out. Warranty information has been received. We're continuing to work on GIS. I think we're close to being finished the GIS facility locations. They have one more day in the field, and then we'll have a good GIS map. Work on Somerset's ongoing. We completed curb work, concrete sidewalk, driveway aprons, stone pipe work. We've made sure that it's accessible for voting tomorrow. They did a dry run today, and this grass has been out there to make sure it's accessible. One big thing is we're able to replace the concrete driveway apron and sidewalk behind the entrance and exit. So it's a lot less steep than it's been. So hopefully that's one good thing.
All right, and we will be meeting after the Thanksgiving holiday or around that week of Thanksgiving, before Thanksgiving, to talk about the multi-use path reconstruction and lighting. Okay. Anything else from Mr. Lees?
Are you on top of the sewer collapse for the That understand is done by the contractor.
That was sent to the county.
Okay.
Will make one.
Yeah.
Should we give them there?
No, it should be, I just didn't know if he was involved, no, yeah.
Oh, it was the contractor piece.
I saw the photos.
Yes.
So I just didn't know if
I don't
there
think
was an agreement that they were going to take responsibility.
my understanding is that they are taking responsibility.
Okay.
I don't know that Mr. Reese was involved in that though.
Yeah, that's why I didn't know if he was involved in that, that's why.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
Response? From Senator Booker, this was read sort of out loud by Mackenzie at the event, but it's a letter congratulating us on our $850,000 in multi-use patent. So we had an event, a check presentation event on the 22nd of October. So that's all. Anything else? No other correspondence? All right, move to council reports. Mr. Woods?
Thank you, Your Honor. Quick update from Shade Tree, and you heard the presentation on the tiny forest. We received that grant funding that the Shade Tree and Green Team used to start developing that plan. And Shade Tree will be meeting not this Thursday, next Thursday for their monthly meeting in November. From Green Team, the plan, they'll be meeting next Tuesday, is that?
Yeah.
We're moving forward with a meeting next Tuesday as of now. And I don't think Joint Land Use Board has anything pending. I haven't seen anything come through, so there's no scheduled meeting for Joint Land Use Board next week. And that concludes my report.
Okay. Questions, Mr. Woods? Thank you very much. Mr. Fitzgerald?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just had a DPW this month. Chris Belmont continues to recuperate at home. He is doing well. I spoke with the chief last week last week, and he's on the mend. We currently have 2 public works members are working their way towards completing their CDL testing to help offset with Chris being out. Trash truck is getting its hydraulic cylinder replaced, so we'll continue to keep that held together as best we can. And outlets were installed over at the gazebo. That was part of that work was completed when the gazebo was first done. The conduits were in place, but now they've officially been installed. We've already done one work through the community center to clean up leaves. There another one it's in the process of they go in, they do one initial cleanup, and then they kind of try to keep up with it through the remainder of the season. 4 sewer calls completed, as well as 76 work orders opened and closed. That's all I have to receive.
Questions for Mr. Fitzgerald? Hearing none. Mr. Sprout?
Very brief report tonight, just 24 calls last month was actually a higher call, like you guys have seen, there was fires on 1,000 block of Pennsauken, or fire, so, just public notice, Mr. Rouse will be a social media post on your guys' way to say, no backyard fire pits. Even Chief Patty said that, trees were on fire, 15 feet up in the air, in that small little place, That's what's 45 acre fire, so that's my only remark, that they will, Virginville Fire Department will be enforcing the burn ban, the statewide burn ban.
So people ordering their lawns should not be doing that.
Should not be watering their lawns either.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No report from the police. They need a couple more days to crunch the October numbers, so I have to defer to company.
It is early. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kerman.
A couple things. One, we have our financial report this evening. We're going to transfer $3,206,745.65, mostly to the county and the school board. So I'm asking for that later on. I also have an update on the vacant property registration. Last time we discussed the idea that we're going to keep our fees as they were versus the new state fee. It was determined that we could keep our fee as is, so we are keeping our fee as is. Those bills will be going out in December for a January 1 deadline, so we'll be on a January 1 due date and then July 1 due date, 6 months. So every 6 months, the fee is assessed against vacant abandoned properties. Every 6 months, the fee goes up. So until year 5, where it caps out for the total fee schedule. So, that'll resume this January. As you may recall, the reason why we stopped doing it was because the county was moving towards that joint program. That person went out of business. They had a new person. That person then didn't do anything with it and lost that contract. We then had to handle it in-house. Now handling it in-house. So that's not moving forward there. The other thing is on the vacant abandoned properties. We do have 2 additional vacant properties added to the list. Not necessarily abandoned, so we have a total of 18, 16 vacant, 2 abandoned, is where we're at, as now we sit total for the borough. So hopefully now with this fee in place, this will hopefully start getting that number back down, closer to 10 and 12 and 8 before. So, and it's amazing, by the way, that our numbers just keep up after that. So, and a lot of it's all the next. That concludes our report.
Questions for Mr. Kerner? Hearing none, thank you very much. Clerk's report, Mrs. Brown.
All that I have is, Veterans Day, we will be closed, our offices will be closed. Tomorrow is election day and everything is scheduled and, looking good for the community center. And, I think that's really it. And Monsterville was great. That's all I have. Other than that, nothing to report.
Okay. Nothing from the community development report, that you have that Rebecca submitted. I didn't see anything. We're working on, and getting an update on the pedestrian walkway on it.
I did get an answer.
Okay, so let's go to the.
He says beginning of spring because of the delays with the federal requirements. That there's a lot of hoops that we have to jump.
Technical term. Groups to go
Hoops,
through.
that, yes.
Okay, all right, we'll see about that. Okay. CFO report, nothing, I don't have anything, old business, new business discussion, business registration license.
Several of those from the TDS, yeah.
So this was something, that the Business Association came and gave a report at the last meeting, I believe it was on the 14th, where they discussed, an idea about business registration, for businesses in the borough. And I believe everybody used, they're just one in the middle.
I don't think that we can fit, but
Yeah, right. Next one. I'll make you guys all. So it was sort of left with council to review, and have a discussion, I think, at this meeting about what the council's pleasure was on how we would, whether we would consider this, and if so, how we would want to structure it. As it's being proposed, it looks like it would be borough's responsibility to administer and hold the dollar monies, and charge those monies, to the businesses. So, council? Thoughts? I mean, some of you were here, I think, when the presentation occurred.
So my question, it would be a mandatory registration. I don't think it's explicitly stated here, but if any business in town will have to register, is that the proposal?
Yeah, if we got this as a emergency. Looks like that would be the requirement, yes.
Penalties for not registering.
I don't know, I'm not sure, not as it's currently drafted, I don't believe, you know, or as being proposed. My biggest concern about it was, we're taxing it, we're collecting it. What control over how it gets used do we maintain? It would appear none, or little. And yet we're the ones who, people will say, the businesses will say, oh, you're not business friendly. You're not business friendly, you're charging us, you're taxing us through this other thing. So I mean, that's a major concern I have. And one of the questions that I thought is, if the business association is creating a 501c3, they have financial institutions, and why wouldn't this just be part of what they would collect from those that would be interested in being involved? I know it won't be as effective if that's the way that it is handled, but I don't know. I'm not sure. You know, what does council feel?
How much of this rate, do we know how many businesses are in town that be impacted?
I don't know. Jen, do you want to come up? I don't know.
Sure, if you want me to come up, I can
Any
answer all those questions, so.
Sure.
Right now, the Commercial Business and Professional Association is kind of keeping a list of businesses, brick and mortar. There's roughly just under 90 brick and mortar businesses. The discussion with regards, we're not a 501c3, we're a nonprofit entity, we cannot be a 501c3 because of a professional association. So we're nonprofit, as we registered with the state and the federal government. The discussion with regards to why business registration ordinance versus an association for volunteering, like, so we looked, went down 3 possibilities. A bid, like Collinswood and Hatfield. We're just not there. We just don't have the volume of businesses, and we're just not at that point, and just the structure of that seems extremely challenging right now based on where we're at in our business community. We looked at, professional association, a business association. We have about 20 of those 90 businesses that actively participate. And those are the ones that are doing all the work. But the entire business community is getting the benefit from the work that those 20 businesses are doing. So the other thought would be that it would be a mandatory ordinance so that all businesses, similar to the fire registration fee, we have to put into this because they're all getting benefit from potential things that the borough could do, borough beautification. Social media is the biggest one right now. We're fundraising for the business association through t-shirts and through different, the haunted walking tour, different things that we're putting that effort out and doing to try and stem a social media presence that only benefits the town at large. Bringing more people here is going to help, kind of put our town on the map, and it's going to help improve the business district, and that's also going to bring potentially more businesses that want to come here. But right now, we don't have a social media person or a company or anything that does that professionally. We do it on our own. And right now, we're paying for posts on our own out of, fundraising money. So I really feel like if we're gonna step this up and do something bigger and better in town to really try to attract other businesses and get some of them, we have a lot of abandoned or not being used commercial properties in town to try and get businesses here. We need to kind of step this up. And so the discussions we've had with those 20 or 25 businesses that come to our quarterly meetings is this is probably the best way to go, is for the borough to put in a mandatory ordinance for the businesses. There are, and to do a little bit of research, other towns to do this. Maple Shade has business registration. The brick and mortar businesses, those is $50 initially, and then it's a $25 fee annually. Obviously, Collinswood and Hatfield have a bid, so that's a different structure, but businesses do pay based on their bid. Cherry Hill has a business registration fee. It's based on the type of business, and they have different paperwork for certain types of businesses. Washington Township has a $75 business registration fee for their township.
interesting enough, Burlington County actually reserves a business registration fee for the county of Burlington for businesses that register, that open within the county itself. So I thought that was interesting, it's the county registration. So, I mean, this is kind of the discussions that we've been having, and we feel like we're trying to kind of stem more economic growth of our businesses and try and put Nurtureville on the map, try to get more businesses here, get it to be a spot that people want to come. You know, and that's what we're trying to do. And how we do that, those are the, you know, this was a thought process. So we're certainly would love to have that, continue to have that discussion if it's something that, you know, you have questions about. That's kind of where we're standing. I can tell you that the current board is in favor of this, the current Nurtureville Business and Professional Association Board, which is an elected board. So.
Council questions?
So, I mean, from the towns that you listed, I would think that Maple Shades downtown is probably the most similar to what we would be doing here. You said that was $50 initially, $25 in subsequent years. Do you know what their enforcement mechanism is?
I do not.
Because I think that's gonna be the hard part, isn't it? Okay, we're gonna charge these fees, and people say, I don't want to pay. What can we do?
Right.
Make that.
Yeah, I don't know what happens with the fire registration fee? Are there penalties on that if people don't pay the fire registration? I know it's 35.
But there's state law.
There's state law.
That requires it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of this might take a little bit of research. That's kind of coming to council and to mayor just to have these discussions. You know, we know it's not gonna be like an automatic thing. Tim, I don't know if you have any background in this, you know, so.
The ordinances that the one that I'm familiar with specifically is a Mercantile license ordinance. But that's specifically in there, and that's the revenue comes into the town, and it's used to offset whatever type of inspections or anything like that has to be done by the town on the businesses. And that's what I was just looking at just going through some of the ordinances here, in terms of whether or not we can put an ordinance in to direct funds to another entity, where we would have to, or we could segregate those funds. The ordinance that I'm familiar with, the funds just go into the general, the general pot, so to speak. And then the enforcement mechanism is like anything else. It's a, violation of the borough ordinance.
Right. Yeah, I know there's some discussions about it going into a trust that's earmarked for business items, or not items, but, beautification, social media, marketing, that would affect all the businesses in the downtown, a very generalized trust that could be used for that. Yeah.
That would be something that would be kind of indirect, whereas, the revenue would be coming in, the council would determine that X amount of dollars is coming in, so we'll put that money over to do beautification of the downtown or something to that effect. Not a direct revenue source, an indirect source. If that was the way to set it up.
Could you provide grants from it?
That was the other thing, business grants.
Like you could provide a grant to say marketing through an association. I guess my question is really on the budgeting side of this. How do you allocate $5,400 to be collected all? Then there's also, if you're supposed to street employ $5,400 or $5,800 a year. Church of social gets $450 a month. How much can you really? It's a threshold that can be useful that will really move the needle versus.
Well, I think it would be if everybody paid it and it's like year after year after year, and then like just things like power washing the sidewalks of the West End and, and things that within the budget, the borough budget, that it's an extra. Like it's not necessarily a thing you can afford, but it would look really nice to have that done. The biggest one for us is a social media, company or person or intern that can be paid to run the social media. One that's not within the business association that owns a business here, because they're a little biased, right? We have multiple photography places, we have multiple physical therapy places, like it should be even across the board. So, I don't know. I think it's definitely something to think about. and discuss.
So I know we spoke when when you guys had the meeting over at Eclipse about trying to bring as many of the businesses on board with the idea as possible, knowing, kind of speaking to what Mayor had spoken to before, you're gonna have some businesses that are probably gonna push back against it because they're just gonna see it as brand fake. Have you guys been working on outreach from your guys' end to any further?
Quarterly now for the business association as a whole. The board meets monthly. So the quarterly meeting has been on the last 3 or 4 agendas with discussion. We had a large meeting that was hosted by, at American Photography, that this discussion happened with regards to an ordinance, with regards to a voluntary association, which again, people are like, well, people want to join this, and that could be opened up to outside of Merchantville, it could be opened up to multiple areas to join our business association. I just don't know if we have the want for people outside of Merchantville to join us, right? Pennsauken has PMAC already, and you know, a lot of businesses are a part of PMAC, so yes, it has been discussed multiple times.
I mean, from like on a personal level, you guys, I remember when, you guys were formalizing in the beginning that you guys were doing a lot of outreach, actually going to the stores and speaking to some of the owners. Have you guys done anything like that in regards to this?
We have, about a year ago, we have discussed that with the stores that, like we have access to for those owners, so. Like I said, we're not gonna get 100% of people on board, to be fully honest, but the ones that have been very active in the association, probably all of which you guys don't know, because you just see them participate in things in town, or make donations to the borough, or do activities and events, they're the ones that are saying this is the right thing, right way to go.
And we know what Shade or any of these other communities that levy this business registration fee. Do we know what they utilize those fees for? Are they dedicated in some way, shape, or form?
I don't know, but I could do some research and try to find out, so. I don't have a problem doing that.
I mean, I think if we levy a fee, it has to be something that's directed back into some way for the promotion of business. That's how you have the protection. Because
We levy the fee, we control how it's used.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we have to.
No.
I agree, and then it also is our person has to work on it, and our,
Yeah.
in a very already very skeleton crew, group that we have.
I mean, at 5,400, if you got it based on 90 and 60, if you went that direction, that's enough probably just to get someone to buy social media ads. Like you get a small intern, or you're trying to get someone to actually operate to social media.
It's not to buy the ads, it's not to create them, to
targeting. Not gonna do it for the whole year.
You're never gonna get you're gonna get like 10,000.
Yeah.
And obviously I wouldn't want an intern working on this because it's the borough. And controlling what it sends and how it sends and who's targeted. Now we have a responsibility in that.
The only thing I can tell you is that I think the alternative, what you're listening and what you're hearing from the business community, is that you have about 20 businesses that are contributing a lot of money to a lot of borough events. And they're saying, we need the other businesses that aren't contributing, but still benefiting from all of it, to kick in something. And they should have some stake in the game. And unless council does something to it, you're gonna burn out those 20 businesses, and you're not gonna have their support in the future. So that's what you really gotta look at is, are you worried about the 20 businesses that are there trying to help you out versus the 70 that aren't showing up?
But if everyone paid exactly to supplement the 20 businesses that are gonna work, I think you're probably right, I think you're always hearing 80% of businesses don't do anything, 20% it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if that $5,400 gets those other 8 other businesses to do anything, it's still the same 20 doing the work.
No, it still might be, but at least it's something, it's better than nothing.
Yeah, and currently right now, the Mercerville Business and Professional Association, we hold the list and the contact list of all the businesses. We have, Rebecca asking us, hey, can you send this email out to the business community? We gladly and happily do that because we love the communication between the borough and Virginville, which is obviously our kind of, you know, our online handle, I guess you could say. So it's actually been a really good positive sort of back and forth over the last year or two, with the borough. So I don't know, for me, I think that's a good thing out of all this, I wanna keep that going. So I just don't know, you know, this is one idea. And I hear some of the reservations, and I understand that, but at the same time, what do we do? What's the next step in like moving our business community forward?
I think the issue here is, this gonna get enough concentration here? Does this get us enough concentration to really utilize it the way you're talking about? I don't think there's any disagreement over what your sense is and what the end result is. Is $5,500 going to get us there? Is it going to get us a lot of other businesses that just moan and groan because they don't want to pay, and they don't see any tangible benefits? Then the third part is our staff are going to be responsible for this. You know, $450 a month on social media, that might help a little bit, but you're not going to get power wash. We're not going to get education. We're not meeting any of those promises. I mean, are we over promising what we're going to get in return on this? It's not like we're raising $20,000. We can have someone part-time doing some of this work. We could have public works, have someone, you know, pay for someone with power wash before events. I just wonder if we're getting what we actually want out of this, if this is still a fee that's just because of burden, that doesn't really drive any change.
I think it's a good dialogue, so
It is.
I think, but I tend to agree with Dan. I'm not sure it's comprehensive enough to make as big an impact that we both want. And so I think it might require more than just that. If this is an element of it, that might be an element of it, but there might be other things we have to do to be able to drive interest revenue, to be able to support the type of communication that you're talking about and driving interest. I think it's well beyond just the ordinance here. So let's keep discussing this. Because I mean, the whole point of having Rebecca's position and Mara before her was this.
Right.
Exactly doing what Rebecca has been able to do in the last couple of years, and that's with this. Trying to drive interest. And so plus another, so.
Yeah, it's definitely been discussion with Rebecca, and we've had discussion with Denise, and so, you know, it's not something we're taking lightly. We do think, though, that the amount of the fee, as it continues to move year to year to year, could ultimately be helpful. So it may not be helpful in the first year or two, but it can be helpful down the line.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk with you.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
We have two resolutions to be read by consent agenda this evening. Does anyone have any objections to those? None. I'll read them out. Resolution 24-103, Disabled Veteran Allowance, and Resolution 24-104, 2024 budget transfers. Have a motion. Colonel the first, Mr. Sparrow the second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Mr. McLean.
Yes.
Mr. Colonel.
Yes.
Mr. Raza.
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
Yes. Thank you very much. Next, we have the financials, which Mr. Carney reported on earlier, because the original.
Yeah, so again, I'm going to move the resolution as discussed earlier, Article 3,206,735.75 cents.
Second.
Mr. Kernan, second, Mr. Sparrow, roll call, please.
Mr. Fitzgerald.
Aye.
Mr. McLean.
Yes.
Mr. Colonel.
Yes.
Mr. Sparrow.
Yes.
Mr. Woods.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Any announcements? We do private session. No, no, entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. Cheryl, all in favor? Opposed, abstentions.
I see. had mentioned EDA grant for business expansion to be open in Delran, but outside of those, I haven't seen. I would like to keep an eye on those grants. There hasn't been a lot on there. Yeah, so we try to keep an eye on that type of stuff as best we can. That I did not look at.
I just think you should get so much.